Nyarie is that girl from Bikita. Nyarie is a mother, she's a wife, she's a family person, she is a lover of people, she's a creative. I think these things are the constant things about my personality and about who I am. The rest, it's things that I discover every day. I believe life, it's a journey of self-discovery, so there's no definitive way of describing who I am, because what I might say something today and you can have an interview with me again tomorrow and it would have changed, but the constant things, the things that I've already mentioned, I just started them as fun TikTok videos. And I was just imagining what it would be like if we had a functional emergency services department or call center, what kind of emergencies and problems people would be calling in with. And, I'll just sit in front of the camera and then just freestyle it, think of a problem and imagine and work out how it would play out in a Zimbabwean setup. Being manned, a call center being manned by a civil servant. Our civil servants are deemed the not so friendly people in the public offices. Everything else was kind of all thought out. Like the character of Monodeyi, it developed after the very first skit, because the reception that I got on TikTok and the other platforms that I put the skit on prompted me to even want to create more. So, like for the example, the character of Monodeyi represents a civil servant, right? She's a civil servant. She is not paid very well, but she is the center of the most important department in the whole country, and she is the only loyal civil servant who stood the test of time, despite the low salary, despite the inconducive work environment. She's still there. So she works at her own pace, but eventually she gets the job done. She is rude, but she eventually gets the job done. In the skits, even the makeup, she had exaggerated ugly makeup that almost falls into the category of clown. It was almost clowning, or let's say mocking the fact that, okay, this is the most important department that's needed in any country. If there are emergencies everywhere, it's a fact, but we don't have a working department for it. So that's why it's called the 911 Munodeyi mockumentary, because it details things that are happening. It's reality, yes, but we are mocking it because something that I've discovered is that as Zimbabweans, our way of coping sometimes, if not all the time, is to laugh at our problems, because we're not very confrontational, like in a hostile way. So sometimes our way of coping is to laugh at our problems, and I realized I probably fall into that category as well. Hence why I created this in a way it's funny, but at the same time it gives people a chance to reflect on the realities that we're living. And so, like I said, the reception that I got on TikTok and other social media platforms I put these kids on prompted me to even grow bigger, and I said, how best can I reach a wider audience? So I decided to make it, to turn it, or to grow it rather, into a web series, into a YouTube web series. Like I already mentioned, that I engaged Gideon Jeffo. He was writing back home in Zimbabwe. That's the beauty of technology. You don't have to to be together in the same space for for you to work together. So he would just write episodes, he would send them to me, I'll read them. If there were any changes or things that I would need to contribute, then I would do that. But most of the work, this is pre-production, he did the writing. And I then also engaged with Stella Rochimunda, and she was the manager for this production for 911 Monodeyi, the first season. She's so hands-on, so she was running around and putting things together, because we just planned on the dates that we were going to shoot. So she was putting everything else together. So I had a dedicated team back home in Zim, so it wasn't that much hard. We had to shoot though, like within 5 days. We shot it in 5 days. So some things that I would put in the skits was coming from real life situations, right? So, like I said, it has to be a conversation starter. And also, as Zimbabweans, as citizens, we have to reflect upon these things. It might not have happened to you as yet, but it might happen to you on a different day that you might need an emergency service. And if it's not working, or if we're not asking for it, you're gonna be in trouble, or you might not be helped at a time where you could have been helped. I'm sure one way or the other we might have been affected by the lack of emergency services in the country.
Sorry. Sorry. But let's banana kukumaka fongo kusatoda kukuta X.
Munodeyi and other productions that are being put out there addressing our social, economic and political issues will stand as platforms, or rather as conversation starters amongst ourselves as citizens, hopefully that they will reach the authorities so that they can act on things that they need to act on. For example, the fact that we don't have a functional emergency services. We're about 16 million plus people, and there are emergencies every day, everywhere. And it's really a disservice to the citizens that we don't have a functional emergency services department. I think at some point, Potras, they tried, or they actually did, I don't know. They had a 911 and the 112 emergency number to call. I'm not sure if anybody tried to call that. But even if they did, I tried to call 112 at some point with no success. I just wanted to see whether it was functioning or not. So you can imagine how many other people have tried to call it if they know about it. If it's still there and it's not functional, then there is need to publicize it more so that it reaches every person, because everyone has got emergencies that they face every time. I remember at one time I was coming from work, and just outside the gate where I was working, there was a gentleman who was lying on the roadside, and he had passed out. So we were wondering what was wrong with him. Myself and my colleagues, we just walked out of the gate. We realized that he had a clinic card in his pocket. We opened it, and it showed that he had diabetes. So we figured maybe his sugar was low or something was wrong. So we were thinking maybe we could just find a lift from one of our colleagues and put him in, and they can take him to the hospital. But also in the card, we noted that 2 months back he had a neck and back injury. He had fallen from a building. Apparently he was a carpenter. So we figured, no, we can't do that because we don't know what made him pass out, and we don't know how bad the injuries are. So this needs authorities. And we called the city council. When you call the city council, they say there are only 2 functional ambulances, and there's a list of about 31 people waiting for the same service. So they would just take either of us, our names or the name of the patient, and then they would make a plan to go and get him after they've completed the list. So you can imagine 31 people, and this person is passed out. We don't know how bad his situation is. So we had to call a private ambulance. So like the more I created 911 Monodeyi, the more I remembered some of the scenarios that I'd come across. So some things that I would put in the skits was coming from real life situations, right? So like I said, it has to be a conversation starter. And also as Zimbabweans, as citizens, we have to reflect upon these things. It might not have happened to you as yet. If someone wants to fund us, to give us the dollars and cents, I would love to come back with the season 2. To have the conversation continuing, as well as the entertainment. They call this edutainment, education and entertainment. But the main focus right now is to try as much as possible to push for season 1, so that we can get it out there to the people, and people get to familiarize with what we're trying to do, what we're pushing for. And then maybe when we've reached the people, we can start working on season 2, because yeah, we can never run out of emergencies, literally. But yeah, I would really love to come back with season 2 and to turn this into something bigger, not what it is right now. What it is right now is good, it's satisfactory, but would love to grow bigger.